Hello, this is Kevin Barry. This is a very special transmission on behalf of the West Cork Literary Festival. Um, Normally, we're down in blissful Bantry in the height of the summer. This year, we're coming at you from a different angle, from all over the place. I'm going to read just a short extract from one of the stories, one of the 11 stories in this lovely book, That Old Country Music, my third collection of stories, which is available now from Canongate. I'm going to read from the last story in the book, a story called Retka in the Bughouse. In 1960, the American poet Theodore Retka and his wife Beatrice spent time on the island of Inishbofin off the coast of County Galway. While on the island, Retka had a breakdown and he was committed to the psychiatric hospital at Ballinasloe, back on the mainland. The limbs of a dead whitethorn appear in the dark to say that the night dissolves. The large, dishevelled man fills the hospital window with a spidery grin as the last of the dark gives out to grey morning. The morning comes up after a night such as this, and you feel like you fought a fucking war. Now come the slate roofs and the chimney pots and all the weary rest of it. Ballinasloe is greyly waking. He turns to the slight man sat neatly in a bedside chair with palms rested on cheerful knees. What did you say your own name was, Doctor? I didn't. I'm O'Reilly. Oh, I'd believe it. The doctor has spatters of mud or cow shit on the hems of his trousers. Equine snout, tiny head. He half rises from the chair and turns it to face the thin new light in the window and sits again. And how should I address you, Mr. It's Retka, but you can call me Ted. This all seems entirely reasonable. Yes, I am Ted, and I am made of flesh, bones, and gases, and this spidery grin. Anxiety folds away its arbitrary music. Unquestionably, I could use a drink also. Now the large man can feel the grin detach itself from the tight lines of his mouth. August here is dense as a jungle in the rain, and it plays sour notes in his glands and pulses. Are you experiencing agitation, Ted? Well, all this in heaven too. He arranges a sigh, and to emphasize it rests a buttock on the edge of the mattress, bony as an army bed. The doctor crosses his legs now. The doctor sits in a kind, interested chin on his knitted fingers. In truth, Dr. O'Reilly, there's been nothing that's absolutely a surprise to me. All this coming and going from himself. He would like very much now to spread his fat limbs in the water, because I could float like a lily pad, and I am beautiful in the water. I have such grace when I am floating there. There's a burning sensation in his chest. He would like a tall, stiff drink, and he would like to fumble with some skirt in a taxi. I think I can make you shriek, actually. What it is, it's a fucking joke. You take absolutely and positively and stick them together, and I am aware of my fucking words, O'Reilly. What is it, that line from Hopkins? I am gall, I am heartburn. You need to try some Pepto-Bismol, friend, and you need to try it today. This doctor's head is quite simply too small for a grown man's. It gives him a beanie look, very punchable. I understand that you write. Oh, angelically. On Inishbofin, he looked to the sky and saw fires on the moon. He lay wrapped in his overcoat on the pier all night long, and for a while its safe harbour it seemed. Yes, there was a bottle, and Mars also was visible. About this recent unpleasantness, Doctor, it's nothing I can't handle. Cold white wine, a belly full of shellfish, a hotsy-totsy in a yellow cab. The city's rank night odours, her pearl buttons straining. And seeing as you ask, girl, well, yes, the thought is always crossing my mind, and I do mean always. I think we could do filthy things together, just you and me. I believe that it's poetry, Ted. Fuck off. No, I'm sorry. That's all right. I believe it's poetry that you write. So do I. No, that's pat. The line swigs out too easily. It intends to be, Doctor. Oh, you pompous ass with your handsome jowls, your lurching heart. This doctor is a religious, I can tell, the placid god haunts of his pale green eyes. Did you come loose of yourself on Boffin, Ted? That's a very attractive way of putting it, Doctor. Here we are in our sombre grey palace. Here we are in our stone grey town. Bal in a slow, apparently. Slow gin. Slow love. Should we make an afternoon of it, lady? I watched you walk the beach on the island, Beatrice, and the breeze moved the sand in circling drifts, and it settled and sang again in the breezeless gaps, and you found in the white sand your ritual things, your pebbles and shells, and the way you dipped like a bird to peck them free. At the very least, we can try some other medicines, Ted. You'll sleep anyhow, I'm sure of that. This is all very fucking civilized. The day comes up hot and airlessly to fill the sour green ward, and we connive most sensibly, this smiling doctor, this somewhat penitent loon. Though in truth I would quite like to fuzz up your smile, O'Reilly, see if you might misplace your faith. Shall I lead you through the caverns of this fat old skull then? Dank, oh, dank places. Caverns full of black hissing water, through which sometimes still I rise up to myself. You're crying a lot, Mr. Redke. It's because I'm so tired now. The worst of this is done, believe me. He had walked the corridors to pace off the night. He closed his eyes and drifted the island again as he paced on Boffin. There were bits of sheep everywhere, hanks of dark bloodied wool along the roads and snagged in tidy clumps on the roadside wires. The road circled the island and brought him back to himself again. The road was so comically narrow he could lie across the entire breadth of it, and did. He listened to the aches beneath the skin of the road. He conversed with the inanimate. Bloodied wool, rotted skulls, maggoty, there were horns and bones everywhere, in neat piles, clean smooth by the salt wind, mutton necropolis, lichen beautiful on the stones, a yellowish green flecked with tiny black parts. I wonder if I exhaust you sometimes, dear Beatrice. It cannot be an easy ride. But of course I promised to write your name across the stars and years, that old promise. It is what sustains my kind. It is what keeps us coming in a grinning line. Ted Redke walked the corridors almost the whole night through. Beyond the high windows, the moon waxed heavily on County Galway. Did you know that madmen are much the same everywhere, Dr. O'Reilly? Much of a muchness, Ted. Do you believe so? I do, actually. Some wang doodle off a hill farm. You can tell the hill people everywhere too. The wind startled look. Some wang doodle wept into his chest as he mooched the corridor and made two syllables again and again, a name, and wept to his chest, and I bet those were the syllables of his mama's name, her name forever on the dry cracked lips, and his shit-crusted shirt tail hanging all undone. What is it with these micks and their mothers? On Boffin, grown men drank pints of milk with their spuds in stew, creamy mustache, peat smoke, poem. Too easy, Ted. Fucking teat complex. Now, ambition in the heavy morning jangles a single manic chord. He considers, suavely, the needle-thin doctor. Is this a reasonable kind of establishment, Doctor? Is this a reasonable kind of a town? Tell me what you mean, Ted. Might a man go for his walk in the evenings and take the evening air? There's one pub I'll allow you go to, Ted. Our nurses drink there and they look after you. We understand each other clearly, yes, much of a muchness. I am the large, trembling, electrified type, hot-eyed with unnameable passions. He has seen my cut so many times. Ted is smiling now. Ted is benevolent. He shifts the second buttock onto the mattress. The doctor murmurs encouragingly. A wood pigeon sound from his hollows gently. Ted is moving in for a while. He will rest his bones here for a good long while. I'll leave it there. Thank you so much.